I am sure that the whole House will welcome the news this morning that the Metropolitan Police have arrested Julian Assange. Arrested for breach of bail after nearly 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy. He has also been arrested in relation to an extradition request from the United States authorities. This is now a legal matter before the courts. My right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, will make a statement on this later. But I would like to thank the Metropolitan Police for carrying out their duties with great professionalism and to welcome the cooperation of the Ecuadorian government in bringing this matter to a resolution. Mr. Speaker, this goes to show that in the United Kingdom, no one is above the law. Turning to the Council.
He wants to thank all of his supporters for their ongoing support, and he said, "I told you so."
I told you so. Julian Assange under arrest, asylum revoked, and awaiting an extradition hearing for charges against him in the United States. Welcome to Full Circle. I'm Anderson Cooper. Clarissa Ward is in London outside the Ecuadorian embassy where Assange lived for 7 years. She'll explain what is next for him and take your questions as well, so you can comment with those right now. Plus the goods tonight, growing family that should put a smile on your face, which made us wonder, when you were growing up, were you a single child or a sibling? If you have a sibling, share this post with them. If not, share it with another only child. I'll have the final results before the end of Full Circle. I want to start with the first thing first, a top trending story on Facebook right now, and it's something you might not know about, Alexa. According to Bloomberg, not only is she listening when you speak to an Echo Smart speaker, an Amazon employee could be listening as well. Bloomberg discovered that Amazon employs a global team to transcribe your voice commands and feeds them back into the software to improve Alexa's grasp of human speech. The company telling CNN Business that it does in fact do that, but it says it only uses what it calls an extremely small number of interactions from a random set of customers. You can opt out, by the way, in the privacy settings selection of the Alexa app. Now into the three things. We posted 3 stories for you to vote on. Here's the one you wanted to know more about this evening. As mentioned moments ago, Julian Assange facing extradition to the United States after British police arrested the Wikileaks founder and forcibly removed him from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The heavily bearded Assange, he claimed asylum inside the embassy for 7 years. He's been holed up in there. Ecuador withdrew that asylum today, coinciding with the U.S. extradition warrant. The Department of Justice confirms Assange has been indicted for conspiring to steal military secrets. I want to go to London, where CNN's Clarissa Ward is outside the Ecuadorian embassy. So first of all, can you just kind of walk us through how everything unfolded at the embassy behind you?
So Anderson, I think what's really interesting about this is that everybody realized at some point, and there's been a number of false alarms in the past, that Julian Assange would ultimately, at some day, have to leave the Ecuadorian embassy. But no one really expected it to happen in broad daylight at about 9:15 in the morning when police officers went into that door behind me. He's been in there for 7 years. He clearly resisted. You can see those images, just extraordinary images of him being forcibly removed from the embassy. He looks disheveled. He has a long beard. He's clearly resisting arrest. And there was quite a crowd of people, obviously, who gathered around to witness this momentous occasion. Nobody could quite believe what they were seeing, because after 7 long years of him hiding out and living in this embassy, there was a sense that this could go on for no one knew quite how long.
And why now?
So I think there were a number of different reasons for why now. What we're hearing from Ecuadorian officials is that basically the living situation had become untenable, that they were concerned about his physical and his mental health, that he had become aggressive towards staff employees, that he was discourteous. There were reports of him playing loud music late at night, reports of him riding around the embassy on his scooter. One Ecuadorian official even saying that he had rubbed feces on one of the walls of the embassy. So a number of accusations of that nature. And then there was also a political component here, because the current rulers of Ecuador felt that Assange was trying to foment unrest, foment political instability. And so essentially they decided that enough was enough and they wanted to get him out of there. And so they took this major step of essentially inviting British Metropolitan Police into the embassy to arrest him, Anderson.
There had been sexual assault charges against him. I can't remember if it was in Sweden or you can correct me, it was in Sweden. Were those dismissed? Are those still out there?
So you're right. They were in Sweden, 2 different women accusing him of sexual assault. And it appeared for quite some time that that case had been dropped, that the Swedish prosecutors were not going ahead with that case. But now there is a lot of speculation that, in fact, those cases could be resurrected, which would mean that he's facing not 1, not 2, but 3 legal battles. There's the lesser charge of bail violation, which obviously he will be found guilty of, but that's not as serious as potential sexual assault allegations coming from these 2 different Swedish women. And then obviously the most serious charge that he's facing is what the U.S. is calling conspiracy for computer intrusion, which is basically a legal way of saying that they believe he tried to help Chelsea Manning hack into highly classified data, which he then disseminated. It's an important distinction, though, Anderson, that what the warrant says is not that he is being extradited for publishing those highly classified materials, but for potentially he stands accused of having tried to help Chelsea Manning hack this password to get at those highly classified documents, Anderson.
And what is his lawyer saying about the U.S. charges? Because I know she gave a press conference.
Well, I mean, his lawyers and his supporters at Wikileaks and elsewhere are unsurprisingly trying to really categorize this as an attack on the freedom of the press. And as his one Wikileaks co-founder said, he said this is about conspiracy to commit journalism, not conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. And you played that sound also from his lawyer, who said Julian Assange has one thing to say about this only, which is, I told you so. And this is really a narrative that supporters of Assange have been cultivating for some time, that he is a kind of freedom of speech warrior, that he is a journalist, and that it was inevitable that he would be persecuted at some point by these powers such as the U.S., Anderson.
Many of our viewers have been asking what is next when it comes to extradition for extradition to the United States. Could that drag on for a while?
Yeah, that can definitely drag on for a while, and it's by no means a slam dunk, because Assange can continually try to protest or appeal against any extradition. But for the immediate term, what you have is May 2nd, which is the next court appearance where the extradition hearing will begin. And essentially now the U.S. has 65 days to provide the UK with solid reasons why they should extradite Julian Assange to the U.S. And at this stage, it's anyone's guess as to how that will go. There's already an internal debate here in the UK in Parliament, members of the opposition Labour Party saying, hold on a second, the UK should not be doing this. So it's a very real debate going on, not just here, Anderson, but across the world.
All right, Clarissa Ward, appreciate you being there. Thanks very much. I want to move on.
And we should recall what WikiLeaks actually disclosed. Who can forget the Pentagon video footage of a missile attack in 2007 in Iraq, which killed 18 civilians and 2 Reuters journalists? It is the monumental amount of leaks such as this that lifted the veil on US-led military operation in a variety of theatres, none of which have produced a favourable outcome from the people of those countries. Julian Assange is not being pursued to protect US national security. He is being pursued because he has exposed wrongdoing by US administrations and their military forces.